1943.
As this year comes to an end, we decided to recap the most eventful moments of 1943.
To start off this summary of 1943, let's take a look at all the major diplomacy acts that happened this past year. To start, we will highlight the U.S.'s alliance with the Soviet Union. At the start of the war, their relationship was a little bit rough. However, throughout the course of the war, they both joined the Allied powers and their relationship improved. Throughout this year, there have been some exciting conferences discussing the course of World War II. Starting off the new year with a bang, the Casablanca Conference took place from January 14th to January 24th. This conference was a meeting held between the Big Three, but Stalin could not attend. At this conference, Roosevelt and Churchill made the policy for unconditional surrender. This policy of unconditional surrender was determined to be the only way to ensure peace after the war. Moving throughout this exciting year, we can recap on the Third Washington Conference taking place in May. This conference was one of a series of conferences and took place between Roosevelt and Churchill. The Trident Conference further discussed the decisions from Casablanca and the invasion of Sicily, Italy. They also started to discuss the invasion of France to finally end the war with Germany. Moving throughout the year, we can focus on the Cairo Conference from November. This meeting was with Chiang Kai-shek, Roosevelt, and Churchill to discuss China in post-war Asia. At the next meeting after Cairo, Stalin had agreed that the Soviet Union would fight Japan after Germany. The last and final diplomatic conference of this year was the Tehran Conference. This conference took place between November 28th and December 1st. Roosevelt, Churchill, and Stalin attended and discussed post-war planning. There, they committed to launching Operation Overlord, which was the invading northern France in May 1944. The Soviet Union again agreed to declare war on Japan after the Germans lost. Wow, that was a lot to cover. As you can see, there are many important diplomatic events that took place during this year. But enough about that. Let's kick it back to Emily to discuss some important battles.
Moving on to the major battles that occurred throughout 1943, starting with the Battle of Kursk. This began July 5th, 1943, and carried out until September 23rd, 1943. It began known as the largest tank battle in history. This was fought with 5,000 miles of trenches. In the end, the Soviets gained decisive victory due to the fact that the Soviets outnumbered the Germans, 1.6 million to 780,000, or 3-1. Now, let's discuss the Battle of Stalingrad. This was beginning July 17, 1942, and ended on February 2, 1943. This battle became known as one of the bloodiest battles in history, resulting in near 2 million casualties. This battle initially stopped the German advance. Next was the Battle of Guadalcanal, starting August 7, 1942, and continuing through February 7, 1943. This battle was fought on the island of Guadalcanal, and it became the first major land offense by Allied forces against Japan, and overall took Americans 6 months to defeat Japan. Lastly, let's discuss the Battle of El Alamein, fought on October 23, 1943, throughout May 1943. This attack was started by British commander Montgomery. It was the turning point of World War II and was fought between the German and British Army, where the British Army ended up winning.
This year was one to go down in the history books. Starting off with a bang, on January 18th, the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising began. The Nazis were getting Jewish people out of their ghettos and sending them to extermination camps. This resulted in the Jewish people fighting back, and the Nazis had planned to liquidate these camps in ghettos, but Jews had different plans and fought them for over a month until being overcome on May 16th. Also on May 7th, Germans surrounded Tunisia. Axis armies surrendered after just 6 days because of the loss of almost 40,000 lives already. This surrender resulted in 267,000 prisoners of war. The Nazis also targeted Romania on November 15th. They declared gypsies and anyone part gypsy the same as Jews and sent them away to concentration camps. This was a result from the leader Himmler. Another leader of the Axis powers, Italian Prime Minister Mussolini, was voted out of office and arrested on July 25th. He was arrested on charges of no confidence, and this was also during the month Allied powers invaded Sicily and bombed Rome. Overall, this year was very impactful in terms of events.
Now let's wrap up this New Year's recap by reviewing the changes that happened on the home front. The summer started off terribly with the Detroit race riot in 1943.
On June 20th, nearly 100,000 residents packed Belle Isle and broke out into racially motivated fights. Although tension was high before the fighting, a twisted rumor initiated the fight, and as the rumor spread, so did the violence. The riots in Detroit proved many social inequalities, such as police not intervening in fights and the mayor ignoring African American community leaders' call for help until the violence spread to Paradise Valley. When the violence spread, that's when the mayor finally called for national support. Now looking at this past year's economy, the gross domestic product grew 17%, war-related production went up 2%, and unemployment was at an all-time low of 1.9%. Some physical changes that occurred included the Pentagon building was finished on January 15, 1943, and the U.S. announced that rations of meat, cheese, canned food, butter, and cooking oil should go into effect.
And that is your 1943 recap.
Thank you all for watching and Happy New Year!